Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Hatter webinar. It's great to see everyone today. Before we dive in, I'd like to acknowledge the generosity of the Hatter family and the Hatter Foundation, whose support has made it possible for us to run the Hatter Technology Seminar over the past few years, past a number of years, as part of our professional development. And we're grateful for their commitment to advancing learning and innovation within our network. Today, our focus is on AI in education, and the aim of the webinar is to bring people together in between two in-person Hatter seminars to explore, reflect on, and discuss AI, how it's shaping education, how we can use it responsibly and creatively in our settings. If there's enough interest, we'd love to hear feedback after the seminar. If there's enough interest and people feel like it was worthwhile, we'd love to include these regularly as part of our professional development offer. With that, it's my pleasure to hand over to our new CEO, Shimon, to formally introduce the Hatter webinar.
Thank you, Leor. Welcome, everybody. It's a pleasure to be with you, with so many people from all these corners of the world. For more than 20 years, the Hatter Technology Seminars have helped us look at new technologies and think about how they can best serve our schools. This year feels especially important. Things are changing so quickly in our classrooms, in the way that we work, and in the way that our students understand the world around them. That's why I'm grateful that more than 100 educators from so many countries are taking time out of their busy schedules to join us. You'll hear from 4 of our educational leaders from around the ORT network. 2 of them are alumni from last year's Hatter seminar. They'll share their experience, their concerns, and their ideas. And I hope that this session will help open up conversations that continue long after today. Like many of you, I believe that AI brings with it real opportunities, but also real responsibilities. AI can help us personalize training, break down language barriers, support students with different needs, and give teachers more time for the work that only you can do. It may help us better understand how each child learns, fulfilling this idea of chanoch le'na'ar al pi darko, teaching each child in the way that best suits them. But AI also pushes us to ask honest questions. What has to say human in the learning process? How do we train our students to use AI responsibly? What boundaries do we need to set for ourselves? You know that ORT has been preparing people for work for almost 150 years. But right now, it feels harder than ever to predict exactly what jobs we are preparing our current students for. It's not likely that the future will belong to people who can simply memorize knowledge. More probably, it will belong to those who can learn and think and adapt and care. That means our responsibility is to help students develop the skills and attitudes and confidence they'll need no matter what the future brings. So, what can we do now? First, we need to help students build real AI literacy. Not so necessarily they all become programmers, but so they understand what these tools can do, what they can't do, and to be wise enough to know the difference. Second, we have to help them strengthen the human skills that matter most. Critical thinking, curiosity, empathy, good judgment. These aren't optional. They remain at the heart of education and growth. And as a Jewish network, we also have the privilege of helping our students connect with Jewish life and values and ideas. These shape the way that we build meaningful lives. Third, we need clear, responsible guidelines for how AI is used in our schools. Our students should see us modeling transparency and care and good judgment. They'll learn from what we do as much as what we say. And finally, but perhaps most importantly, we have to support our teachers. You, our teachers, need time and training and trust. Your jobs aren't disappearing, they're evolving. Your roles as guides and mentors and role models is only going to grow. You'll continue to help shape young people through the moments that matter. Jewish wisdom can always steady us as we face new questions. From the very beginning of Torah, we're told that each person is created b'tselem Elohim, in the divine image, with dignity and moral worth. No matter how advanced technology can become, that truth will never change. AI can't care It can't choose right from wrong. It can't replace the nitzotz, the spark that makes each of us unique. We won't solve every question about AI today, but we can take the first steps together with honesty and courage. Our education department will follow up after today's session and stay in close touch with your schools. We want you to feel our support in the vital work that you're doing. In the coming months, we'll offer more online training and more spaces for you to share what's working well across the ORT network. And next year's in-person HASA seminar will continue to build on what we start today. We achieve far more together as a network than any one of us could achieve alone. As the Chief Executive Officer of World ORT, my priority is to get to know you, to understand your challenges, and to learn what the opportunities are so that we can help you give every ORT student the strongest possible start in life. So thank you, and I wish every one of you Batzlacha, huge success. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dov, for those words. Before we start, if for those of you who use LinkedIn, if you post about your experience today, please tag World ORT. We'd love to see and to share your reflections. Also, we want this to be an interactive experience. So if you have questions throughout the sessions, please drop them in the chat and our speakers will try and address them. It's my pleasure to introduce our first speaker today, Dr. Moshe Leiba, Chief Pedagogy and R&D Officer at World ORT Kadima Mada. Who will be exploring beyond the algorithm, designing responsible AI tools that nurture creativity in learning. Over to you, Moshe.
Well, thank you, Leor, and thank you, Dov, for the inspiring words. And I fully agree with you about the role of AI in those days. So I'm going to talk a little bit, give a higher view of AI, maybe mention some of the issues that relates to students all over the world about AI. And if I'll mention, and specifically it's Gen AI, generative AI, LLMs, large language models. It's not really, I hope everybody knows the difference between AI and Gen AI. The Gen AI part, it's what everybody's, well, a lot of people, when I'm mentioning AI, is referring to the LLMs, to large language models, like ChatGPT, Gemini, etc., etc. So when I'll talk about AI in this presentation, or LLMs or ChatGPT, I'm referring actually to the same aspect. So I want to talk beyond the algorithm itself. We all, I'm guessing, whoever is here is using AI either for their personal use or in the classroom. So how can we design responsible AI tools that nurture creativity in learning? So we know, again, Gen AI in the past 2 years in education, when we talk about education specifically, it's been being adopted around the world very rapidly. So again, ChatGPT is one aspect or one tool out of a lot of Gen AI tools in the past more than 2 years. But I want to talk a little bit about ChatGPT because the research I'm going to present or talk about is dealing with ChatGPT as the example. So we see a rapid adoption in education. It's becoming a common tool. Brainstorming, writing, learning tasks. We all know that students are copying. It's those who were educators when Wikipedia came out about 15, 20 years ago. So we see the same concerns, but Gen AI is a much stronger tool, and I'm sure that you know that. Gen AI also has, again, like ChatGPT, has a lot of fake into it. So we need to also know about those aspects. So what is the problem? The integration raises important questions about the influence on creativity, independent thinking. I mean, can we now, I mean, if we give students tasks, I mean, are they doing, all of them are using it. If you think that the students, even in the classrooms, if they have their cell phones, laptops, tablets, etc., they're using Gen AI in their tasks. You want it, you don't want it, they're doing it, especially when they're at home, of course. So we have some concerns about if they're copying it, how is it going to influence, how is it influencing now their creativity, their independent thinking, their, in general, their cognitive aspects. So while I can scaffold idea generations, we have a lot of research in the past, again, past year, 2 years, that talks about outsourcing cognition, meaning everything to do with thinking skills. Maybe it's being outsourced to Gen AI and reduce our own thinking. So it may cause years to come a problem in our student cognition and how we use our own cognition. So just a few words about creativity and cognitive impact. So creativity, for those who don't know, several definitions, but the broader definition talks about three aspects of creativity: fluency, originality, and flexibility. It's a very old definitions by Guilford from the 1960s, still being used in education today. So when we talk about what about fluency, flexibility, and originality, meaning if I have an idea, meaning creative idea, fluency means how many numbers of idea I have for problem. A problem is something that we can solve, have many solutions in many ways. So fluency means the number of solutions that we come up with for a problem. If we are creative enough, so we have more solutions, right? Flexibility is how many ways, how many in mathematics you can call it how many paths of solution we found, how many ways we thought about we can solve the problem. And originality means our idea, how it's original to the others. It's in comparative to the other ideas, the other students, the other people in our group solve the problem. So this is a broad definition of creativity. So LLMs again, large language models, we know that they generate a lot of ideas. When we ask them, and if we know, again, entering a lot of maybe new terms or new jargon, so prompt engineering, if someone didn't hear about what prompt engineering is, how to build your prompt, how to converse, how to interact with the LLMs, with the Gen AI. So LLM generate a lot more ideas, but, and this is not me, this is algorithmic research that's being done in the past 2 years, but gives lower novelty and it taking a lot of risks, meaning, as you know, gives a lot of fake ideas or ideas that are not really applicable. But it does give you a lot of ideas, meaning a lot of ideas. I'm going back to what I talked. So it deals a lot about fluency. In the aspect of creativity, it gives a lot of fluency to the students, so to us as teachers, as educators who want ideas, and we do use it to get ideas, great. But students are over-relying, we already said it, over-relying on AI. It reduces independence, reduces metacognition. Again, research that's being done in the past 2 years. Also, regarding pedagogy, we know that human and AI co-creation, if we use AI, Gen AI, as a mentor or use AI as a learning buddy, as a collaborative tool, it can enhance creativity if it does reflection. We know that, for example, some ChatGPT has an education version. A lot of other tools have an education version. Education version means that it's more to do with asking questions and interacting with the learners and not giving them the correct answer, or not giving them answers at all, but leading them in a conversation together to come up with ideas. We know that reflective prompts improve self-regulation and engagement. If the prompts that the prompt engineering, that students are building the conversation aspect with the LLMs, with the Gen AI, can enhance and improve self-regulation and engagement in the learning task. And when I'm talking about responsible AI, and this is an aspect I'm dealing with, it's responsible technology and how to use and how to build and how to plan technology in order to, responsible meaning be ethical and help and enhance in every field. I mean, it's not only education. Responsible technology is how to use and how to build and how to design technology to better enhance humanity. In a lot of aspects, responsible AI in education mean how to better education and how to design those aspects. And we need to talk about transparency, accountability, and of course, cognitive augmentation. So when we design those tools for education, we need to think about those aspects. So I'll really go brief on the research. I think I have only 10 minutes to go, right, Leor? So I can talk for hours, but I'll do it really briefly. So what is the one of the two research questions that we talked about, my research that I did about students with my team is what is the effect of ChatGPT on fluency, originality, and flexibility in students' creative thinking? And what responsible AI design requirements emerge from these effects? So the study employed quantitative design. We had survey and experiment. We used actually the AUT. AUT is alternative users test. Again, a test for testing creativity for humans. We gave it for 100 students. We wanted to measure the creative dimensions. Again, as I said, the empirical phase, the experiment included 60 students randomly assigned to control group and ChatGPT assistant group who completed a timed AUT task. Again, what is an AUT task? It's actually very simple. It gives you it gives you a cup and asks you give as much ideas how to use a cup. It's not you can use it, by the way, in all of, you can build this task for mathematics, for other aspects. This is a general cup, how to use a cup. To come up with as many ideas as you can use for a cup. Very simple. So again, survey 100 students. We had 42 males, 58 females. The experiment, we had 30 ChatGPT who used the ChatGPT for coming up with ideas, and 30, the control didn't use ChatGPT, they did it by themselves. Again, generate creative, the idea was the task, but generate creative tasks, creative uses for a cup. They got 3 minutes in the experiment. And we measured, again, fluency was the number of ideas, originality, the rarity of the ideas, and flexibility, diversity of categories, meaning the heuristics they use to the path of the categories of solving the problem. So I won't go into the statistics, but we found only difference in the fluency, meaning the numbers of ideas. Those who used ChatGPT versus no ChatGPT, also in the survey and the experiment, have found much more ideas, had more ideas. The fluency was much bigger when they used ChatGPT, the AI. So they had much more ideas. In the aspect of originality and flexibility, there were no significant differences between ChatGPT and no ChatGPT use. Now this raises, again, I'm not going to go into the statistics, but it means out of the 3, ChatGPT helped us generate more ideas. It didn't help the student to be more original ideas or to have more categories or to have more heuristics or more ways to solve the ideas. Very interesting, meaning, again, if you look at it, it didn't damage, by the way, it's very interesting, it didn't damage the originality and the flexibility, meaning it didn't really didn't damage it. So we are still very good. I mean, it helped the students to generate ideas which are rare, ideas which are flexible, but still didn't increase those. When we asked about the student perceptions, so they reported that most of them reported that ChatGPT helped them generate the ideas, but they expressed worry about reducing independent thinking. They did talk about, again, they use it, we all use it, but sometimes we are concerned about what is it going to cause to our own independent thinking. And they did see it, as a dual nature, as helpful for fluency, but also as a risk for their autonomy and originality if they rely only on ChatGPT. So the study suggests that ChatGPT in creative tasks is nuanced. It can boost creativity, but it doesn't foster. And this research is aligned with other research being done now and in the past, and we are continuing to work. My research team is continuing to work on those aspects to explore more ways into creativity, but it doesn't foster deep dimension of creativity. But again, we have to remember, didn't also damage it, which is very important. Doesn't damage, meaning we want to use it, but we have to think how, when we design the task, when we, maybe as technologists, design those tools. As I said, Gen AI is also, the companies are designing also AI in education modes, how to use those tools in education. So when we give ideas on how to design those tools, we need to think how to enlarge or how to foster deeper dimension of creativity, which is flexibility and fluency. We have it, flexibility and rarity of the ideas. So the positive view, it enhances, it enables students to generate light idea. It was helpful. It helps overcoming blank page. It sparks ideas. It's very good to start, to overcome barriers, to initiate brainstorm. It's an amazing tool. But again, we have to understand how to do it and not to hurt the cognitive aspect of the students, not to only stop at generate ideas, but also to deep aspects of creativity. And again, creativity is one aspect of thinking. They have a lot of other aspects, like how to be, how to control the ideas also. So again, over-relying on AI, over-relying on AI, again, can be a problem and can reinforce, may reinforce conventional thinking rather than challenging it, limiting long-term creative development, and we need to pay attention to that. With responsible AI, meaning responsible use and responsible design, has to take into consideration how to augment creativity and thinking skills while avoid erosion of autonomy. Again, we lose autonomy. We have to think how to not lose the autonomy and to augment, not to replace our thinking, not to replace our how we teach, but use it as augmentation to the tools that we use. Again, I'll finish with some brief how it's responsible design practice. So we need to find how to find or highlight, how to highlight user needs. Students want AI to augment, but not to replace originality. We have to capture constraint when we build design or systems. For example, the system shall support idea generation while preserving user ownership of solution. This is something that we, as part of, when I'm going to design a tool as a technologist, I need to design to be specific. So the system shall support idea generation, but prevent user, it will not prevent, will not prevent the user ownership. The student needs to be owners of the solutions. And again, how to validate those creativity outcomes. To be responsible is responsible design, embedding principle of transparency, agency, and augmentation into requirement baseline. Meaning, again, when we design those tools, when we design even our task for students, we need to think how they can use it, give them, again, how to use the tools in order to help them achieve the cognitive and metacognitive aspects. Again, I'll send Leor the presentation to look at the recommendation for educational design, how to prevent or how to implement prompting. I hope my other colleagues will deal with prompt engineering, which is a very important issue, how to teach students how to be more, Dov said, literacy, AI literacy is very important. How to build prompting and how to converse with AI agent is very important, and we need to encourage AI as a brainstorming partner, foster divergent thinking, present reasoning trails, track engagement and originality, all those while we give learning tasks using AI. Again, we have to use AI because AI is out there. We can't do anything, and we use it, by the way. I use a lot of AI in my work. It helps me a lot, saves a lot of time, gives me a lot of ideas. But again, what I'm telling my students all the time, AI is actually for the use of experts. If you're an expert, you know how to use AI and to be very critical about the answers it gives you and how to converse with it as an expert. When it's a learning agent, it's a different thing, and students need how to use it as a learning buddy, let's say. So thank you. If you have any question, I'll be happy to answer. I hope I gave some aspect of a larger aspect of AI.